Hi, everyone. Welcome back to this week. I'm going to do a quick explanation of phase 5. It's not very long. You did a lot of the hard work last week when you did your survey. So the first thing I want to start talking about, though, is you can start thinking about the data collection plan for this phase, but you can't send your survey out until I approve your survey. So that's one important thing that I want to point out. But then once you get the approval, and I approve them pretty quickly, I'll try to get it back to you as soon as I can, faster than phase 3. Phase 3 takes me a little longer, but I'll get back to you as fast as I can, and then you're ready to send it out. So let me talk about that, the data collection phase. Okay. So when we're talking about the phase 5, we're moving on to the next phase. We're talking about the data collection. So in the last phase, we talked about the steps of data collection is actually a many-step process. So we said first that the step is that you have to identify what the information you're trying to get. So we said you took your phase 3, you thought about sort of an interesting question that you wanted to ask, and then you made a statement about it that turned into your hypothesis. And now you wanted to test that hypothesis. So then you developed a tool to start collecting information about what other people think about your hypothesis. So that was your survey last week. So you've done those two things. So you're already finished with those two parts of data collection. So this week, all you really have to do is you have to collect the data. Okay, so hopefully you typed up your survey in some sort of a Word document and it's attached it to me so that I can look it over and grade it. Now you need to turn that document into, if you want to do it digitally, a digital format. If you're going to do it paper-wise, you got to just make copies and pass them out, however you want to do it. You really have to think about that. So you're going to make your data collection plan, and then you're going to start to collect your data. Okay, so that's all phase 5. So the first thing is who are you choosing to survey? So we talked about this in phase 4. You had to give it some thought. You can ask friends, family, and workers. Who are you going to ask for this information? Who are you going to pass out the surveys to? So that's one thing that you have to think about. And you already probably stated that in your phase 4. The next thing you have to decide is how are you going to share that information? Some people like to do it digitally. Some people like to do it old school paper wise. However you want is fine. There are some tools out there, SurveyMonkey, you can use for free. It may limit the amount of questions that you can have. So if you get to over the question and it's going to make you pay, just kind of look through your questions and see if there's 1 or 2 you can eliminate. I think it gives you up to 10. So try not to have more than 10 questions, including your variable questions. So you may have to shorten it. Google Forms is free. A lot of people use Google Forms now because that's what they used in high school. Then you can share it on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or however you want to share it with the people that you're going to share it with. That's all if you're doing it on the digital format. Or if you want to do the paper format, some of you still have classes with me on campus. You could let me know and I could pass them out to different classes that I have. Or you could pass them around at lunch tables, or you could ask people in the library, wherever you want. You can ask different people if they'd be willing to fill out your survey for you. Now, how many surveys should you have? Generally, I think you should be around 20, no more than 30. So you should be in the 20 to 30 sort of range, because you need enough data to actually analyze in the next phase. So if you're at 18, it's fine. You're not going to fail. If you're 31, you're not going to fail. It's just that's your rough estimate. And that tends to be a good amount of data if you're somewhere around 20 and not too much over 30. So then it will help you do the data analysis that you have to do later. Okay. Now, again, don't send it out until I approve your survey. So make sure that you get my approval for your survey. Don't wait for the last minute. Some people wait to the very last minute and then they're scrambling to get their surveys. I've had people cheat and make up the survey data. Don't do that. You could fail the whole project. And if you fail this whole project, it's a huge part of your grade. You won't pass the class. So think about it, start early, get the surveys out right away. And that's why I said, don't fraudulently complete the surveys. Make sure you're actually collecting data. Okay, so you need to have actual data to collect. Also, don't go crazy. Don't get too many because it just makes your life really, really difficult. Some people are overachievers and they get so many surveys and it's just too hard. So try to stick to the 20 to 30 range. And then the last part of phase 5 is just reflect on this process. What were some of the potential problems that you experienced while trying to write your survey and collect the data? How could you improve on this process in the future? So you can't do this until you have all your surveys turned in. So this will be your last reflection piece for phase 5. So remember, this whole project is really just teaching you research methods. So we're not really doing a true full-fledged social science experiment here. We're learning the research method steps. So just be reflective. If you think something went wrong, by telling me, it's not going to affect your grade. I'm not going to lower your grade because you said, oh, I should have done this instead of that. Oh, I wish I asked a question different. That's a good thing. That shows me that you learned, that you spent the time to reflect. So if you find that there are any problems or issues, just be honest and recognize them and state them. Really think about it. Give it a little brain thought and think about what you could have done better. Okay, so after you collected all your data, you answer the questions. So these are just your questions for phase 5. Okay, how many people did you actually survey? So phase 4 was creating your plan, what you wanted to do. Phase 5 is what you actually achieved. Okay, how many people did you actually survey? How did that differ, or was it the same as the number you originally wanted in your phase 4? Identify and describe limitations. We just talked about that reflection piece. What is your reflection on limitations you faced? What other difficulties arose during this process? How reflect overall on how the process went and how you could improve it in the future, because we can always improve things. So be self-reflective and understand that you could make improvements. So just remember, phase 4 was coming up with the plan you wanted to follow. And then phase 5 is how did it unfold? What ultimately happened when you were doing your data collection? Okay, so that's all I have for that explanation, short and sweet, to let you know what to do. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to explain it in email, or we can Zoom, or we can meet, however is best for you. But just reach out if you have any questions. So far, things are going great, so keep it up, and I will talk to you soon.